Yo, it's Tony here, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to create a 10K per month agency. I already made a lot of trainings going through how to set up the profile, how to make the offer, how to run the whole funnel, but in this video specifically I'm going to be focusing on basically starting from zero. If you're watching this, you probably have an agency, maybe you're thinking of starting an agency, maybe you make already 2K per month, 5K per month, maybe even 10K per month. But it doesn't really matter because you can still use things inside of this video. There is always some things to change and to improve in your business. Now you might be wondering, why would you even listen to me? Why do my words and my tips have any real value? I'm running my agency for 2.5 years. I run a lead generation agency for construction companies, and I got it to stable 10K per month only last summer. My path of scaling the agency wasn't really a rapid growth, right? You know, a lot of businesses, a lot of agency owners could scale their agency in 2 months. So they'll teach you what did they do in those 2 months. But the reality is, in most cases, it doesn't really happen that way. And now I'm one of those cases where it really took more months than just 2. First of all, I was doing the cold outreach for 1.5 years, but currently running this agency, it was first 6 months. I got 0 clients. And then I switched to running paid ads plus sales calls. And this is where I introduced myself, the first clients. So if you're wondering, is this going to work for you if you're just starting out? It is going to work because this is how I actually started. This is where my agency started to make me enough money to live from that and not to have my regular job. After 1.5 years of running paid ads, lead generation ads plus sales calls, I transitioned to running a personal brand to scale the clients for the agency, which didn't really work pretty well for me because clients just didn't want to buy from one person. So then I got to this specific funnel, which consists of running a faceless agency brand on Instagram. And here is where the steady income from my agency actually happened, but more on that later as we move on. As for the coaching part, I started to coach people last year on how I run my agency, but that was on and off all the time because I'm constantly switching something in my agency. So I wasn't really comfortable with teaching people something that I wasn't happy with. So I took more than 6 months to figure out what's something that's working really well for me that I'm comfortable teaching about. And then the last summer, Faceless agency brand happened to me. I had a coach, as I said before, who was teaching me how to run a personal brand, either for coaching or for the agency. I wasn't really happy with running a personal brand for the agency. So with trial and error, after a few months, I discovered this new system, which was basically running my agency brand on Instagram as if it's a personal brand. After turning my coaching back on, when I was comfortable with teaching something that was working for me really well, the results that I got literally with the first 3 clients was 100% success. And Samuel was able to scale his agency to 10K per month in literally 1.5 months, maybe even less. And he continued to keep that number steady on. So basically how the system goes is we create an Instagram agency brand, we create content that sells, and then we sell people in DMs. So there is no sales calls, there is no objection handling, and there is no complicated funnels that you have to run. Now, before we jump in, I quickly want to go through why I even decided to run this funnel and how it got created. When I started to think about doing the digital business for myself, I started because I wanted to have 3 freedoms, which is time, money, and location. So if I don't have one of those, I'm not really satisfied with how my lifestyle is going on with the business because you are in it for 24/7. You want to make it to be as perfect as it can be. And for me, the time part was missing because I did have the money, I did have the location freedom. As you can see, I'm living in this island house, filming everything here in the walls of people who created this house like 200 years ago. But I didn't have time to work when I wanted to work. Okay, so I was sitting on sales calls for 6 hours per day. And that wasn't something that I was happy with. My whole life wasn't really satisfying to me. Although I had those 2 freedoms, the third one was missing. And introducing this Faceless Instagram brand as a funnel and as a business model to acquire clients was something that fixed the time freedom for me. So using this model, I finally got to the place where I could close clients. I had my calendar free. I decide when I want to answer to those DMs. And I don't really mind that it takes a few more days to close clients because whoever I close in DMs who has been following me for a few days, few weeks, is going to be an easy client to work with. So if you also value time over quick money as I do, and you liked everything that you heard by now, then this funnel is going to be just awesome for you. So we're gonna go into three things. First one, we're gonna cover foundations, how to create your offer, how to create the offer for the rich leads so you don't get brokies. Then we're going to cover how to create the Instagram business brand, because you're probably wondering how does it all look. And the third thing, we're gonna go into the 1% funnel, which is what I use, which is how I get leads, how I nurture leads, how I get them closed, and literally my whole agency system. So speaking about the offer should be really simple. People usually overcomplicate the offer part, but it's basically one sentence that gets qualified people to jump in and unqualified ones to keep scrolling. What elements do you need to craft the offer that will sell and that will get you the right leads? First one, you need to have the niche, of course. You need to know with who you're working with. It doesn't have to be too narrow niche, but it does have to be something by which people will be associating themselves with. The second element of your offer is desired goals of rich clients from a niche. And what does that really mean? Your niche is really wide, right? Whichever niche you pick, there is always going to be people who don't have the money to buy a service and people who do have the money to buy a service. You need to find a way to speak to the people who do have enough buying power to buy your offer, right? Because you're not probably selling something for 20 euros, you're probably selling something for 1K per month, wherever your prices are. People do need to have the money to invest and outsource parts of their business, right? Marketing, video editing, script writing, whatever it is. You need to find people who actually have money to outsource some of the things. Now, speaking about the third thing is basically results of your service in numbers. So you never mention your service right there on the offer. You speak about the results of your service. For example, I do Facebook lead generation ads, but I never mention that because people usually have wrong impressions of your service overall, right? They are not sure, they don't even know that they need your service, because if they would know that, they would already hire you. So you're speaking with somebody who doesn't really understand that they need your service, right? So then you just speak about the results of your service, which in my case is 1 to 3 leads per day. There is one thing that I want to really mention here. I don't focus on problems anymore in my offers. I usually get stingy people with scared mindsets, right? So although you can target rich leads, people who do have the buying power to buy from you, if you speak about their problems, it is going to attract people who are rich, who have money, but they don't want to invest. So it's better always to speak about the desires on your offer, because this is how you position yourself to present your offer to people who have the intention to buy something, to outsource things. Now, this is the basic formula that I use to create my offer, which is I help niche to get to desired goal with the results of your service. And in my case, for my agency, is I help construction companies fill their calendar for full year with 1 to 3 qualified leads per day. Now, I want to mention the part where you speak about the results of your offer, and the niche is really simple. The middle part is going to make the biggest difference, because if you don't crack the desired goal really well, you are going to end up with broken leads. This is the part that you're going to be fixing up the most, but once you get it, it's going to work just perfectly. Now, going into the second thing, which is the Instagram agency profile. Once you have your offer, you need a place to host your offer on. So because we run the done for you system, where you do everything for your clients, they don't work with you in a way that you help them with something. In that way, you just deliver your service. I've seen that people tend to want to work more with the actual businesses. So when I was running the personal brand for my agency, they were like, okay, this is one person. We would rather work with the agency, especially if you are, and let's say for me, it's a construction companies. They want to work with agencies. They're used to outsourcing things to actual businesses and not to individuals. Especially if you're young, right? If they see that you're some, random dude who has like 22 years, why would they give that to you if there is an agency that's been running for 22 years? The amount of years that you have, there is an agency that has been running for that amount of years. Right? So usually businesses tend to trust more the agencies and businesses that are here for longer. And God forbid you have an accent, because if you work international, you have maybe an Indian accent, or in my case, I'm from Croatia. So it's not really here like the Balkan accent, but I hear that I don't sound like other people from, maybe different countries. So if you speak on sales calls with other people, other business owners, they will hear you're not native, and that will create a barrier that you don't want to have, right? So what are we going to do here? Well, the caveat is to create a faceless Instagram agency profile, but run it as a personal brand. Now, this was my biggest discovery, and this is why this profile even works, because I've used the things that I learned from the personal brand part that I paid, I think like 6K. And then I used those same principles and applied it now here to this profile. Now this allowed me to get rid of the sales calls completely and just sell by creating simple posts and sell through my DM. Now this is the example of my personal brand. There are some things that you will see, and I'm gonna compare that to the Faceless agency brand. So you have a professional photo, of course. You have a link to opt in, to get a lead magnet, to book a call, whatever you are going to do there. In your bio, you have what are you doing and who do you help. In story highlights, you have your results, your testimonials, right? And then you have the pin videos funnel. I call it the funnel because I use it in selling in DMs. You have your story here. Then you have your special system explained. And then you have your best testimonial. Now, if you compare that to the Faceless Instagram agency brand, it's similar. It's almost the same, but there is no face of yours. So you use a professional logo right there. In the bio, you speak about what you do, who do you help. Here you have a link to the landing page where I host my VSL through which I sell, and I show my prices and I show the whole system explained there. In story highlights, I have my results, my testimonials, the system broken down. And then in the pin post, I have who am I, what is the secret to my success, and the best testimonial. You can see it's pretty much the same. And this is why, as I said before, it's working really well. Now you can start literally from zero. And this is what Samuel did. He's my best coaching client. He jumped in the first cycle, as I said before, and with 20 followers on his agency profile, which were everybody like family, friends, there was nobody really qualified there. He got to 10K per month in the next 1 month, and he was, I think, 80 followers. And you might be asking yourself, like, how is that possible with only 80 followers? Well, the thing is, all of your followers have to be right followers. They have to be people who are serious business owners and who came to your profile because they're interested in your offer. Now, what is the way that you can make that work? Well, it is by using the 1% funnel. So this is a merging of personal brand and all my knowledge from all the mistakes that I made with the agency. Now, you see, it's a really simple funnel. There are 3 simple steps. You have a step of acquiring new followers, then you nurture those followers, and then you convert them into clients. If we break it down, we see that to get new followers, you're using Instagram ads. We're using direct Instagram ads. So there is no follow us for more. There is none of that. We have simple direct offer. So if you are a construction company and you want to get this and this, DM us or follow us. So we do have follow us part. My apologies, I need to improve that, but I do have the direct offer. So they will know that they're, following us because we have an offer to make for them. We use profile visit ads, or we use lead generation DM ads. Now, this is not a lead form where people fill in the information, then you have to call them. This is basically a just conversation in DMs with the pre-filled questions that they answer, and then you continue a conversation with them. Once you get them as a follower or as DM, right, the inbound lead, then they enter the nurturing phase. Now, this is the part that all the agencies, I would say literally 99% of agencies are missing, maybe even more, because nobody thinks about the nurturing part so much. Everybody tries to jump immediately to the sales call, which is what I was doing for 1.5 years. And they're trying to get the trust from people in 1, maybe 2 calls, depending how you how you create your sales funnel. But reality is it's not enough time, because there is a lot of agencies, everybody's calling them, everybody has a similar system, all those guarantees, and people just don't trust anybody anymore. So what I did here is I expanded that nurturing part of the funnel, not to go on sales call immediately, but for them to watch the stories and reels, which sometimes can take 2 days, sometimes can take 1 week, sometimes can take 1 month. But the thing is, once they become your follower or they DM you, so they become an inbound lead, they will continue to watch your content and you will never lose them. You don't do follow-ups, you just create content. So we use 1 to 3 stories per day where we speak about the results that we have, the testimonials, how our system works. We say that we have a special spots opened, we handle the objections, and everybody watches that, right? Because everybody watches stories. So all the business owners that followed you because you have a direct offer, they will watch your stories and they will slowly get warmed up. And the last part is a DM conversation with them. You ask them a few questions, and if you see that they're qualified, In my case, I send them a link to my VSL on the website. They watch the VSL, which is basically a transcript of my sales call, which usually happen like it was a pitch. I have the explanation of results, and then I have a price at the end. So whoever watches that and comes back to me, I just send them a link, they pay me, and then we start to work together. It's a really simple funnel. And this is just for me to show you that the amount of DMs that I'm getting. So let's break down the numbers here. So you have 3 to 5 leads per day, let's say, on average. Usually a person takes 7 days roughly to decide to work with you. Weekly, you can close 2 clients on 1K euros per month or per service. In 5 weeks, you are on 10K, which is really fast. And these are not the numbers that I'm making up. These are the numbers that my coaching students had. This is not something that I got, it's something like special and nobody else is going to get. This is something that people inside of the program has gotten to. Now, let me make my shameless call to action right here. Every month, I open up new coaching spots. Every month, I open up 3 spots. And I keep the number really low because I want to keep the success rate on 100%. I want to focus all of my free time that I have on my coaching students because that is how the program is going to grow. Now, the coaching has 3 core parts. The first one is one-on-one weekly calls with me, and it is 30 minutes. Then we have the full program with, I think, like 40 plus videos, tutorials, everything you might be having issues with and questions about how to set up technically the funnel. And the last part is access to the community with people who are running the same funnel as you. So all the questions that you might be having, you could ask inside. So if you are an agency owner and you liked what you've seen by now, you can DM me word grow on Instagram and we'll see is the funnel going to be a good fit for you.